Good afternoon, friends. So after quite a mission to get here actually, because I had two choices. One was to get essentially a private taxi. It's about 20 clicks out of town. So it would have been very expensive. Or to get a succession 4 share taxis to get here to Le Marché Chameau, the camel market. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of camels. Hey dude. Which is pretty cool, man. Dude, honestly, I haven't seen this many camels since Hargeisa. I love camels. And I'm literally just surrounded by camels. So much fun. It's a magnificent animal, actually. So it's approaching high noon here. It's 12:30, but the sun thinks it's still 11:30. And it's getting very hot, so I've covered my head. I can hear my mother's sweet voice in my ear saying, "Why didn't you bring a hat?" Reason 101 is to carry a scarf with you at all times. Anyway, so as I mentioned, I've got 3 shared taxis on the way here, 4 if you count the one to the central area. Didn't cost very much. Although I was crammed into a front seat with another person, another kid, 21, but still a full-grown man, next to me for the majority of the journey. It was pretty fun. I figured I'd come here because A, I like camels, and B, because I'm headed to Saint Louis in Senegal this Saturday, and that is when I cross the meridian from the Sahel into sub-Saharan Africa. And so this is the last chance I'll see camels on this trip. Yeah. Now don't quote me on this because this is just my take, as it were, but from the experience that I have with camels and from just plain logic working for me, the really premium animals are like that herd over there that are still being bartered over even in the heat. Now, this being Ramadan, the vast majority of the wranglers, handlers, owners, salespeople are just in the shade because, of course, they're not really supposed to be drinking even water, and it is burning hot today. Ordinarily, they'll be wandering around, but even in those conditions, way behind me back there, they're the really premium animals that are being sold even in this heat. Then you have the, if you like, the next step down premium. They're sequestered away in little groups by fences. You have the particularly feisty ones who've been hobbled, so they have a little rope connecting their front feet so they can't bolt, and they're still playing up. And then you have the ones that are kind of loose, and they're probably for food. I had an amazing camel stew last night. It was brilliant, absolutely amazing braised stew. But and I like riding camels. I'm a horse guy, of course I am. Hello, mate. I'm a horse guy, but riding a camel is like kind of like riding a bit of a sofa. You're just perched on the hump, cross your legs around the saddle horn, and it just kind of sways from side to side. It's really comfortable and a little bit lulling, actually. But yeah, anyway, right, like I say, this guy here has his front legs hobbled. Let's steer clear in case he nips at me. Anyway, like I say, thousands upon thousands of camels. Hey. And yeah, this is fun times. I'm fairly sure that this guy here is a grandpa, because he is wrinkly. Aren't you? Look at you. Give me a look like, what are you doing? So I imagine the majority of you know a little bit about camels already, but camels, the ships of the desert, way back when. Apparently, you remember I talked about Chinguetti, which is an amazing ancient village, just like plonked in the middle of some sand dunes out in the Sahara, and that was a waypoint on the ride down from Morocco to Timbuktu in North Mali. Apparently, once upon a time, a couple of hundred years back, 300 years ago, 35,000 camels would go through per day on that route. Camels are amazing creatures because their humps are just a fat deposit. It's, you know, the hump is just essentially pure fat. Hey, dude. They store water in their bloodstream, and they can go for 45 days across the deep open desert without drinking a drop, which is an amazing evolutionary feat. Ah, hello, Mr. Hobble's guy. You look very calm. I'm going to give you a wide berth anyway. That's a magnificent animal. It looks like he's chewed through his hobble. Now, ordinarily, of course, I would stop here for a decent amount of time and probably eat. But it's Ramadan, so I can't. So my time here is going to be curtailed a little bit. But I'm very glad I came. Been here about 45 minutes now, just wandering around. As I say, there have to be, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 camels here. Gotta love them. And not an inconsiderable amount of goats. I just passed a very large, fairly young camel that I think was being cut out to be sold for food, but good food, because he was a very large camel, young, and I swear blind, his hump was the size of my torso, so a very well-fed camel at that. Yeah. So I've been here about an hour now, just walking around, chatting to people in half-cut French and very broken Arabic. I mean, Mauritania is actually a very young country, because Western Sahara, Mauritania and northern Senegal, I mean, Saint Louis, which is now in Senegal, used to run this whole area. Nouakchott was a small village before 1960, when Mauritania gained independence, along with a lot of other colonized areas, and Nouakchott was decided to be the capital because it was pretty much equidistant between Nouadhibou, which was the economic center, and Saint Louis in northern Senegal, from where this area used to be administrated. I mean, Nouakchott is quite frankly a very boring capital city. There's almost nothing really of note. A couple of nice mosques, but quite honestly, they're very pleasant, they're quite pretty, but they're nothing to speak of. But today, because I had the day off, I had a couple of cancellations, and so I decided to come out here. Hey dude. And I'm also going to the fish market in the evening on the coast, which should be a little bit more lively than this. But yeah, and then as I say, a couple of days heading into Senegal, which I'm very much looking forward to, because Saint Louis is on the coast and it's supposed to be very beautiful actually. And also, and I can't stress this enough, I miss alcohol. With just a beat at the end of February, I've barely seen a drink in 7 weeks. And I'm Jeff, so there's that. But leaving the Sahara, leaving the Sahel, which is the band of the Sahara that just cuts clear across this entire bloody continent, you have to understand, and I've been all around, if you like, the edge of the Sahara. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert in the world, and unless you count Antarctica, of course, which I kind of do, it's the size of the United States. It's just this mass of sand, which is very beautiful in its own way. I'm very fond of it, despite the fact I'm very much a, forests, mountains, lakes and sea kind of person, which is the antithesis of this. But I always enjoy myself anyway. Right, I have got to flag myself down a shared taxi, so I'll get back to you. I do like camels. Anyway, right, leg one done, touching in. I'm currently picked up some washing powder because I ran out yesterday. We'll flag down the ubiquitous Mercedes, hopefully in not such a state of disrepair, and get to Carrefour Madrid. Then I've got to go to BMD and then back to the hostel for a siesta. I tell you something, half the time it's the journey, half the time it's the destination. So that was a mission. No less than 7 short shared taxi rides, long shared taxi rides, to spend an hour walking around looking at camels in a dusty, sandy place, and was completely worth it. Most of these are fairly large, but that one is a beast. Good afternoon, friends. So, the Atlantic. This is the Plage de Pêcheurs, with hundreds upon hundreds of wooden hand-painted fishing vessels. Pretty amazing, actually. So I've been walking up and down. I came straight through the market, which is, as one would expect, a fairly bustling lovely location, straight to the beach. It's a choppy day on the sea today. I'm watching these men put their vessels to sea in this. It's quite the job. Yeah, my last day was in Mauritania. I leave for Senegal tomorrow, and so this is my last evening. I'm going to hang out here for a while. I have tea and water. I'm probably going to hang out for sunset and head back. But this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, perfect. Right, so I didn't stay to watch the sunset on the beach because had I done that, it would have been, well, not difficult, a little annoying to get back immediately after sunset. And there'll be sunsets to come. Anyway, so my last evening in Mauritania. I've done most of my packing really, and it is first thing in the morning I'm leaving. I'm looking forward to Senegal. I have had a good time in Mauritania, but I'm looking forward to moving on. Yeah, anyway.